Heather, could you press the start webinar? Okay, we'll just get ready to start.
Okay. Should I just make a start, Donna?
Yeah, that'd be great, Adrian. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, or morning, sorry, and welcome to our Digital Connection and Inclusion webinar. We hope you find the next hour informative and uplifting, and that you can share in some of our learning. This may be the first time that some of us have attended a webinar, and so we thought it would be useful to make you aware of how webinars operate. During the webinar, you will just see the speakers, not the other attendees. All attendees' videos and microphones are disconnected, and any interaction is via chat, question and answers, and polls. We will not be carrying out any polls during this session, so you can kind of sit back and relax and let us do the work. As with all things technological, we are somewhat in the lap of the gods, the IT gods, as to how well things run. We hope that today's webinar goes well. If, however, we have any technical difficulties, we would ask that you bear with us, and we will do our best to rectify them as quickly as possible. So we'll start with some introductions. I'm Adrian. I'm the Deputy Director at Neighbourhood Networks. On the panel today, we also have Cheryl Walker, who's our Network Manager in Glasgow and East Renfrewshire. We have Jan, who's our Community Living Worker in Shotts. We have Josie, who's our Community Living Worker in Airdrie and Cumbernauld, Lottie from Clifftop Projects, and Charlie from Inclusive Images. During the webinar, we're going to share our journey towards being a more digitally inclusive organisation. Throughout the webinar, you'll hear from network members, staff, and some of our digital partners. And we will share with you some of our successes, and we'll also share with you some of our learning. We hope you enjoy the webinar, and we look forward to responding to any questions that you have at the end. If you have any questions, if you could please note them in the chat as we go.
Thank you, Adrian. So the journey. So like everyone in the world, we have been on quite a journey over the last couple of years with one thing and another. And we wanted to share our journey with you in the hope that you may learn from our experience and possibly avoid some of the pitfalls.
So where it all began, back in 2019, in response to some feedback that we received from our frontline staff, and also in response to a shift in the type of information that funders were looking for from us, we decided that we needed to invest in a more efficient system for recording the contact that we have with the people we support, a system which would allow us to evidence and quantify the outcomes that we were supporting people to achieve.
So having completed research, it was apparent that a cloud-based system would best support our needs. So we therefore made the decision that we would move away from a physical server, and we worked with our IT company to move over to Office 365, a cloud-based suite of applications.
In the meantime, we were supported by one of our trustees who has expertise in process work to map what we required from the ideal recording system. We used this map to engage with some potential developers, and we engaged in a kind of mini tendering process with our chosen preferred providers. After careful consideration, we chose to proceed with C2 Systems. We set up a group of staff who worked alongside C2 to inform the design of the system. This team was made up of staff from across the various functions to ensure that as much as possible, everyone's needs were being considered and where possible met. It was important that whatever system we introduced reduced the time being spent by frontline staff recording their contact with people, that the system captured the outcomes being achieved as a result of the supports being offered, and that we were readily able to mine the information from the system to inform our funders of the impact that our supports were having for people.
So at around the same time, we had been successful with being awarded funding through SCVO, the Scottish Council for Voluntary Organisations, to work with Irene McIntosh from the More Collective to support a group of members and staff to develop and build on their existing skills to become digital champions, and also to help fellow network members to be digitally connected. At the same time, we also carried out digital champions awareness training with the whole staff team, and we assessed their existing level of skill and confidence in helping others with being digitally connected. To say it had been beneficial to find this out before COVID struck was an understatement. We also conducted a full staff skills audit and equipment audit as part of the process, so that we could upgrade any equipment that couldn't cope with the new systems and to look at training needs for the staff team. We also carried out an equipment audit of all our members so that we could support them to have a suitable device to get connected, as well as data to stay connected. So like many people across the world, using Zoom was new to us all. We were fortunate that we were able to link with the More Collective to run specific training sessions for our staff team. We also developed how-to guides and developed a digital code of conduct for our members to lay out some ground rules for planned digital activities. Being online was new to so many people, and we all needed a bit of guidance and support to ensure that things ran well.
One of the key things that we were aware of was that many of our members were not online at all due to safety concerns from their parents and carers. However, during the first period of lockdown, we were keen to get as many people online as possible to allow them to stay connected and give them something to do while they were confined to their homes. Again, Irene from the More Collective supported us to run a series of parent and carer information sessions that specifically highlighted the steps that we'd implemented to keep members safe, such as links not being shared online publicly, utilising waiting rooms prior to event entry, and having neighbourhood network hosts at all events to ensure that the ground rules were maintained. What these sessions highlighted was that often the fear was through the parent and carer's own lack of digital knowledge, and we spent time supporting them to ensure that their devices were safe and also how to access events. Indeed, at that point, many of our activities were open for parents and carers too.
Okay. So later we will go on to show a typical weekly diary of the types of events that we hosted, and these activities come directly from feedback that we get from our members. We had opportunities for members to vote for the activities that they would like to see and also suggest their own ideas. And we quickly realised that online activities provided a great opportunity for learning life skills, such as cooking, as well as meeting up and having fun with their peers.
One of the great benefits of the online activities was the development of friendships and relationships of members across the networks. So prior to lockdown, network activities were face-to-face and mainly in local areas, with a chance for the networks to meet up collectively a few times a year. However, with the digital activities, members from across all of the networks could meet up several times over the course of a week, depending on their interest levels, such as photography, dance, and new friendships bloomed as a result. So at the same time, we were piloting and rolling out the OFMS. So having spent a number of months with the developers, we were satisfied that we had a system that we felt was ready to be trialled. So we invited a small group of staff to pilot the system over a 3-month period, during which time we met regularly with the developers to iron out any issues or glitches that were identified. When we were satisfied that we had a robust system, we started to roll this out across the wider staff team. We did this in a way that we did this in a managed way, and in preparation we prepared a piece of training and a how-to manual, providing step-by-step instructions for every activity that staff would be required to carry out within the system. Training was delivered and manuals were distributed. Ongoing support was offered to staff within the sandbox being a snapshot of the live system where people could go and practice their skills. It was recognised that to ask staff to start using the full functionality of the system in one fell swoop was a huge ask. So we decided to implement the system incrementally. We've been using the system for the last year to record activity. We plan in the next few weeks to introduce the time management element of the system, and thereafter we will start to use the reporting element of the system.
So further development. So during 2021, we were delighted to join the virtual Kilt Walk for the first time as a fundraising activity. The Kilt Walk needed to be virtual, and that actually suited us perfectly, as it made the event more accessible, as our members and supporters were able to choose their own activity and their own location instead of having to join a specific organised event in the region. Our first year of involvement raised over £4,000, and the excellent thing about the Kilt Walk is that all the funding is raised by 50% by the Hunter Foundation. So we put this funding directly towards a technical fund to further support our members who still needed devices, data or technical support to get fully digitally connected.
It was essential that we continued to develop staff skills to allow them to adequately support members to engage with the digital activities programme. So as time passed and other members were attracted to the digital activities, we needed to make sure that staff could offer any support required. We also recognised that we had lots of skilled members who could also offer their support to their peers, and we encouraged this where possible.
So initially, our digital activities were very central services led. However, as our local staff became more confident with their digital skills and we realised that COVID was continuing for a longer period, we developed more local digital connections through network WhatsApp groups, encouraging member video calls and local network activities. So as part of our ongoing evaluation of the digital activities, we developed a host evaluation form and a member evaluation form for each of the activities. And we used the feedback from these evaluations to inform the programme going forward. The digital programme also developed to include further practical skills development such as money management, and had a much greater emphasis on well-being with specific women's and men's groups, and also mindfulness and weight management classes.
We also developed a parents and carers evaluation in order to ascertain whether we were meeting the needs of our stakeholders. As I say, we carried out a parent and carers evaluation, and we also introduced an evaluation process to ensure that the digital activities and the supports that we were offering to our membership were meeting people's needs. We used the feedback from these evaluations to inform our digital activities programme and to give thought to ways in which we could safely offer support to members and their families throughout the lockdown.
So as I mentioned previously, we developed a programme of digital activities. On this slide, this is a snapshot of some of the activities that we are hosting. And you will note that as well as recreational activities, there are activities which develop skills and support our members to continue to meet outcomes.
So as a result of the activities described previously, we feel that we now have a much more skilled and confident workforce. We have staff who previously would have described themselves as IT terrified, facilitating online activities as part of the digital activities programme. Those staff are using the outcome focused monitoring system with confidence and offering suggestions as to how the system could be improved. We're continuing to introduce more of the functions of the outcome focused monitoring system, and we'll continue to do this until we're using the system to its full capacity, at which point we will give thought to what other functions we can add to continue to improve the system for the benefit of our network members, our staff members and our stakeholders and funders.
So we have recognised that digital activities are a valuable addition to our offering to members. We will maintain a digital activities programme and will give thought to how we can continue this to support members to achieve their outcomes. Digital activities are and will remain a part of our core offering and are no longer a tag-on. As part of our evaluation process, all of our digital activities are reviewed. We review participation levels and engagement after each session, and with this data being collated, we look at this quarterly. We also carry out evaluations directly with the event hosts and our member participants to get their feedback on what is working well and what else they might like to see in the programme. Okay, so you'll be glad to hear that Adrian and I will now stop talking for a little while, and we're going to share with you some members, staff and host testimonies. So first up, we have lovely Teresa, and she is going to tell you about the difference that being digitally connected has made to her, particularly through the pandemic and beyond. So here we go.
Okay. Hi everybody, this is Teresa. She's a member of our Grangemouth network with myself, who's a community living worker, Emma. And I'm just going to ask her a few short questions about our learning and our journey so far and improving our skills. So Teresa's got a laptop and she's doing amazing. So first of all, Teresa, what were your digital skills like before?
Didn't do it before. This is my first time.
It's your first time.
And I'm so proud.
Great. And you should be. You've done amazing. What kind of equipment do you use? So you've got your laptop, and do you use anything else?
Nothing.
Your phone?
On my phone.
Yep. So you can talk to us and
Talk to you, and I can do messages on the phone. It's actually brilliant.
it's so good, eh? Why did you want to improve your digital skills, like on
To
your
help
laptop?
me.
Well-
To understand a lot of things, to understand the laptop, to help me to do things that I want to do.
So you,
It's really good.
what kind of things would you like to look at on the internet or use the internet for?
Just things that, like going up to town and shopping and like to go out with Emma and the bowling, things like that.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So what have you learned so far?
What he did,
Your reading. Your reading's
my
been,
spelling,
and has that helped you be using your
That's
laptop
helping me.
and your phone?
laptop and my phone.
Good. So what,
But I have to keep doing it till I get used to it.
yeah, that's been really good, eh? Right, so who's supported you with learning your digital skills and using
Emma.
your phone? Oh, thank you.
And I can't remember the name. Emma. It's just Emma.
Yeah, and you've been going to your group for your,
I've been going
Reading
to
and
group on a
things.
Friday to help with my reading and writing.
Yeah.
If there isn't because Emma and Ian to help me, I don't know what I would have done.
and you've been
So I'm so proud.
I know, and you should be, because you'll be able to use your text messages, and we'll get you online on our digital activities, so you can use Zoom and video calls and send
Uh-huh.
emails,
Uh-huh.
all those kind of things. And what kind of difference has this made to you in the past few months?
Fantastic. I'm not down. I'm up, getting my hammy back to normal and doing things I've never done before. I'm so happy.
That's so nice, eh, Teresa? And what are your plans going forward? So what else are we needing to do and learn, and how could we use your
Go on the
skills?
bus and start going to maybe Stirling. If I want to go to Glasgow, things like that.
Yeah.
Just to go to shopping and things. get me out for a wee while.
And you'll be able to use your laptop
I
to
could
plan the
take my
journey.
laptop with me and I can go to the cafe for a coffee, things like that.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That's great. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you.
It's been great watching you on your journey,
Thanks so much.
and we just keep developing you even further. And thanks to Neighbourhood Network.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, a very uplifting short video there from Teresa. The journey she's been on is quite incredible. So firstly, I need to apologise for having missed Audrey out in the introductions. Audrey's our community living worker in Clydebank. Sorry, Audrey. Next up, we have Jan and Josie. They're both community living workers. Both Jan and Josie would probably previously have described themselves as IT terrified. But as their testimony will evidence, they've both made huge progress over the last couple of years and are now confidently and competently using their skills to assist members and colleagues. So over to Jan and Josie.
Hi everybody, I'm Josie and I'm the community living worker for Airdrie and Cumbernauld 1. This is my 6th year working with Neighbourhood Networks. Before joining Neighbourhood Networks, I worked in an office many years ago, and then I was a community living worker for about 13 years. So I only use computers if I've kind of had to, if I was doing like a training sort of a thing. Sorry, excuse me. Some of the work courses that I had to do, so I used it then, and that was kind of it. And I didn't really want to use a computer again. But when I started with Neighbourhood Networks, obviously, that's what they done, so I had to start getting used to it. And I attended the Digital Champions training. So I did prior to the pandemic. And that's sort of, I built my confidence up a bit. But then obviously when the pandemic hit, I had to set up like Facebook, and I hadn't done that before. So Donna, the development manager, very kindly talked me through it and helped me along, because I hadn't used any social media in my personal life. It was just one of the things I didn't want to do. But although I was really nervous around using the computer, but I really wanted to improve my skills. I get really excellent support from my managers and my other colleagues. I felt everything was just a phone call away, and when you phoned them, they were always there to help. No question was deemed as being silly. They really encouraged you. And then Jan and myself kind of offered each other peer support, because we felt we were kind of at that stage of our life where we didn't use the computers before, and so it was really good to have somebody else that you could connect with really totally. But I feel everybody in the organisation was really supportive and very patient with us along the way. From Airdrie and Cumbernauld 1 networks, the members set up WhatsApp groups. So they did, and it was one of the members that kind of, I roughly knew how to do it, but he was really good. So we sat with him in the groups and we set them up for each area. But I suppose my greatest achievement was sort of going on to Zoom, because that was a big thing. As soon as they mentioned hosting a Zoom activity, you could tell the panic levels just went from there to there, as I hadn't used it before. But once kind of again sat with people, got a wee bit of training on it. Once it was done, that was okay. And you know, once, I think my big fear was somebody not being able to get into it, or me doing something silly. But once everybody was on, then kind of I just started to relax and just get into the way of doing it. And now it just, you kind of got on with it and do it. And if anything goes wrong, you've always got a contingency plan in place. So you have that, you know, we phone the members and let them know if we have to, that something's went wrong, and we'll get it back up and running as soon as we can. The other side of that, a lot of the Airdrie and Cumbernauld members and myself prefer to meet in person, so we do. But during the pandemic, obviously the digital platform was a lifesaver for an awful lot of people. So it was. Some of the members who didn't use it and maybe didn't even make a phone call beforehand started making a phone call and chatting on the phone and things. So yeah, all in all, everything it's really been positive. So I'll leave it over to you, Jan, now.
I'm Jan, community living worker for Shots in Wishawan. I've been with Neighbourhood Networks for about 7 years now. But before I joined Neighbourhood Networks, all I could do was maybe read an email and search Google. But my last job was a support worker for a long time, and everything was handwritten, as you know, with communications and left for the next person to read. So I was really anxious when I started, and I realised that everything was in a computer, and I was, as you said, my IT skills weren't there, and I was absolutely terrified. Loved the thought of the job, but the IT scared me. But because I was the last generation of people who weren't taught at school. So really, I mean, technology wasn't a big thing then, really. But when I did start to learn, I'll be honest, I was blown away with the support that I got, and I was never, any question was never a silly one. It was always stuck. No, it was really answered, and I never felt daft. And then when COVID hit, that was it. We'd step up our IT skills so much. But because we did a lot of support using IT skills with members and also holding meetings with staff and management and stuff were all done online then. Claire, one of the managers, I mean, she was great with me, and Stephen at IT, I think I had both of them on speed dial for a wee while. But the good thing about Neighbourhood was you can approach MD. All members of staff, and I felt easier and more comfortable because I could do that. I didn't feel silly doing it. And I think it was Adrian said to me at one time, if something is stopping you getting to the next step, just ask, then you'll get there type thing. And big thing with me is I didn't feel that my colleagues in management felt that my lack of IT skills was holding me back. They pushed me, saying I was capable of doing it, which I felt was really great. But I had so much to learn before I could relay that to the members. The only thing I knew how to use was WhatsApp, but I couldn't set up groups or anything like that. And my other colleagues stepped up again. They showed me how to set up groups and explained it all to me. So therefore I could explain all this to members. And the big challenge as well was explaining it all to parents, carers, because a lot of them weren't familiar with this either, and I had to explain how to keep safe, what to keep private, and all the rest of it. But it was really good. And some of my members got devices given to them, and this was through the tech fund, I believe. And the tech fund was, as I say, was a kilt walk. And Donna, development manager, she was really good. She put the apps in that on the technology before they received their devices, and it was like opening the door to these guys, you know. It was great. Claire, my manager at the time as well, she helped me learn how to host a Zoom meeting, believe it or not. And after a few times I really felt quite confident, because before that all I was doing was saying to the one who was doing, listen, I'll co-host, I'll let you host, because I knew that I couldn't do it. I was just scared. But see, when I realised that it really, there was nothing to worry about, it was great. And June Dunlop, the digital support, she'd made up a how-to guide, which I asked for a paper copy so that I could keep it beside me at all times, which I refer to often. But I still need to check links and stuff like that before I go on. I'm just still not that there yet. And I still question myself if I'm doing it right. But I'm getting more confident in with my skills. So many new things to learn with this organisation, to be honest with you, because it's continually evolving. But during the pandemic, I was quite chuffed because I managed to complete my support plans in that with FaceTime and WhatsApp, which I could never have done before. And I never dreamed that I'd get to this age and start doing Zoom. But hey ho, I've done it and I'm chuffed. And during COVID, I felt that we kind of reinvented ourselves with all the digital things, but we seem to have all the resources and the support there. Because I think Neighbourhood Networks, I think you'll say as well, you seem to see the bigger picture and what was needed with the digital skills. And I think it's quite good to put ourselves and the members out of our comfort zones. But so much so now I believe that I need to keep learning. I want to learn now, so as I've got enough skills to give confidence to the members, and then they've been benefiting great. And you know, it's really good to get a wee buzz, because the members now, a lot of them are digitally active, some, quite a few of mine in Shots and Wishy One, and they're seeing people that they would never normally have met as regular, because they can see people from different areas and stuff like that, and see when they come back to me and they say, oh, by the way, I was talking to so-and-so from Edinburgh or that. I mean, it's great. It gives you a wee buzz, because they would never have had these skills if we didn't give them. But I have to be honest with you guys, if in 2020 somebody had said to me, see, come 2022, you'd be using Zoom and hosting meetings and that, I would just have laughed. But I'm chuffed with myself now. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Jan and Josie. That was such an inspirational story, and hopefully it just shows you anything's possible, and an absolute lifeline for your members too. The fact that you guys embraced your digital journey and learned the skills, you know, to support them so they could then embrace their digital journey. So thank you very much. I'm just going to read out some of the comments that have been put in the chat because they're so nice. So Adrian said, Jan and Josie truly are digital champions, inspirational. Thank you. And Karen from Keering, fantastic work, everyone, learning so many new skills and technology. Members in Keering also got on board with digital during COVID. Imagine what more we could achieve as more people get on board. And Matt Sang from New Zealand, our members really benefited from the use of technology during lockdown and then continued to afterwards, and often teach people like myself how to utilise it. Yeah, so thank you everybody for your comments. There are more, but we can't go through them all at the moment, but there's loads. But thank you so much, Jan and Josie. Okay, so next up we have Ronnie and Audrey. Ronnie is one of our members from Clydebank, and he has come a long way in his digital journey, and he is speaking to Audrey on camera about what he has achieved and the difference it's made to him. So Audrey is here, but if you have any questions, but we'll just play the video just now and you can hear from Ronnie.
Hi Ronnie, could you introduce yourself please?
Okay, I'm Ronald Kimmer from Neighbourhood Networks, Clydebank.
Could you tell me, Ronnie, what digital skills you had before you joined the network?
I had computer skills, not video skills.
And what was that, intermediate?
Old College Clydebank, I passed Intermediate 1, Intermediate 2 in computing.
That is brilliant. Well, that's a good starting point for you.
Yes.
So, what kind of skills have you learned through Neighbourhood Network?
Skills I learned was how to use a video during the film club, working with Charlie, taking photographs of Clydebank,
Brilliant.
the community of Clydebank.
Was that using your phone, Ronnie?
That was using your phone.
Mm-hmm. So
Then, because I do project with government, I got the laptop.
yeah. You've got some new digital equipment to help you stay connected.
The laptop is better than the phone
And what
because
did you
you
get
can
your phone?
see and hear better.
What did you get your phone from?
I got the phone from Auntie Claire.
Who's that?
Auntie Claire, I fucking call her. She says, well, Ronnie, I've got a present for you, blah, blah, blah. I had an old phone before that. It was only, so Claire says, I said, what, a box of chocolates? No, I'm going to give you a new phone.
So that's Claire Strong. She's a network.
Claire Strong.
She's a network manager. So how has this new equipment helped you stay connected during the COVID pandemic? How has your new digital equipment helped you stay connected through the COVID pandemic?
the virus, very bad. You must talk to other networks through the man's group and the ladies group. Before the virus, I think we used to make one once a year. Everybody got together, all the networks used to get together in a hall. She's like,
That was a joint development.
the virus has hit us bad.
Absolutely. So how have you managed to stay connected, Ronnie? What kind of digital activities have you took part in? What digital activities have you taken part in?
The karaoke with Christian is absolutely fantastic.
Good.
The man's group on a Monday night with Callum every fortnight, but it should be every week.
Yeah.
They've got the women's group every week, like you and Emma, and
Is that through Zoom, Ronnie, you've been using that? Is that through Zoom you've been staying connected?
first of all, it was through WhatsApp,
All right.
but you can't get enough. You've got to get more people. You get more people on Zoom.
That's right, you do.
That's why we use Zoom. In a conversation, one-to-one, yes. WhatsApp. But if you had a lot of people working,
So did you,
networking together, you've got to do it in Zoom.
so did you have to get some support? Did you get some support for somebody to show you how to connect to Zoom and how to use WhatsApp? Who helped
That
you?
was the Good Life group. When you first, Linda and Sally showed us how to use WhatsApp and Zoom. Then later, Callum came in and showed us, actually with a laptop. Callum set it up, my hearing, my
Good.
root system, Callum set it up. If I was stuck,
Mhm.
it's Callum or Emma.
And Callum's a community living worker for Western Bartonshire.
Yeah,
Good.
Callum and Emma are the computer brains.
Good, good. So what benefits
The-
do you have then? What's the benefits of you being connected digitally?
To keep in touch with all networks through Zoom and through WhatsApp. Without that, we would be in the house ourselves. We couldn't talk to you. We couldn't talk to you. Couldn't talk to your support worker.
Yeah, you'd be quite isolated
Uh,
then, Ronnie. Yeah, you'd be feeling quite isolated if you didn't have the digital activities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you didn't meet people using that, you'd probably go mad.
Yeah, you would. It wouldn't be good for your well-being.
Yeah.
Would it be good for your mental well-being?
It's good for your mental well-being as well.
And would you continue to use your digital devices even although we're now moving back to face-to-face?
Of course, it would keep learning new skills all the time. We have to do that.
Yep.
People look at the skills inside them.
Yep.
Like it could be singing, it could be painting, it could be using that skill. But some people are just too nervous to don't bring the skill out.
So we support each other,
I know.
Ronnie.
Some of the group too nervous of talking. Encourage them. Encourage them to speak. Encourage them to talk.
And that's a
Speak your
benefit.
mind.
That's a benefit of staying digitally
That
connected.
is a benefit. Because we work as a team, we're helping each other.
Fantastic. Listen, Ronnie, thanks very much for that.
No problem.
Really. Hi. Hi, Ronnie. Could you?
Yeah. Are you able to introduce Charlie, Cheryl?
Yep, sorry, I was on mute there. I was talking. My
All
apologies.
right.
Okay, is Audrey is here. Obviously, Ronnie can't be with us today, But is anything they want to ask Audrey? Any questions for Audrey? You've got it so far. Well done, Ronnie. Cheryl, you're on mute. Yes, thank you. Amazing support shown. Okay. Yeah, well done, Audrey. Okay. All right, thank you very much, Audrey and Ronnie. So next up, we have Charlie Sherry from Inclusive Images. So Charlie, he facilitated our photography session when we went into lockdown. This was another sort of digital activity that we put on, and Charlie kindly facilitated it for us. So he's going to talk to you about the photography group. So I'll just introduce you to Charlie.
Hello, folks. How you doing? I'm just listening to it, and I feel totally inspired, as I have done. I actually facilitated 4 projects over the lockdown with the neighbourhood networks, and each time is just totally inspiring, both the staff and the members. And the thing I'm getting from it is exactly what I had as well. It was a sharp learning curve. You were fortunate, you done preparation, not unbeknown that there was a pandemic coming, so it came in real handy that you were already on the road to digital link up. Before the pandemic happened, I thought Zoom, Zoom to me was a song by Fat Larry's band in the 1980s. I knew nothing about it, you know. But fortunately, it was I had to learn quickly, you know, and my wife to help me do that, Amanda. But it's, as I said, I'm Charlie, and I run a social enterprise called Inclusive Images, and we were set up to give a voice to people that through the medium of photography, that people live in social isolation, people that feel that for whatever reason they don't have a voice, through photography and sharing each other's stories. We've ran over 40 projects in the last, coming up for 6 years now, well, 6 years this year, and 4 of which, just go on to the next slide there, please. 4 of which were with online ones, with neighbourhood networks over the pandemic. Fortunately enough, Inclusive Images were fortunate enough to get some funding for 3 of the projects, and one of the projects the neighbourhood networks funded themselves. The projects, basically, 2 of them had a fairly straightforward theme. They were facilitated in 2 separate parts of the process of the pandemic, and I was just looking at you know, life and how people were coping it using photography and sharing stories. Wasn't it all bad stories about the pandemic and that? We had wee quizzes and photo treasure hunts, and you know, and above everything else, it was fun. You know what I mean? Through the 4 projects, you know, although there was people that went from one project to another, we had 64 people from 64 members, you know, from neighbourhood networks at one point or another were involved in the project. So it's successful. So this was our first one, changing focus. As I say, it was just looking at life through the pandemic, through photography. And that was funded by the Community Fund, the Award for All Fund. Can I go to the next one, please? I'm flying through this because I realise we're limited in time, you know. So our next one was Neighbourhood Snapshots. Again, that was a latter date. The first one was in the early months of the pandemic, and this was in the later months. And you could see people getting more positive through the project as the pandemic went on, and there was light at the end of the tunnel. Because if you remember right at the very start, there was none vaccines or anything, and it was quite gloomy, you know. But in saying that, the neighbourhood networks ones weren't gloomy. It was always a good laugh, you know. There was cheery folk, you know. The spirits were kept up. But yep. So and then with the third one, we actually tried a different look because it's the 20th year birthday of the neighbourhood networks. Along with Claire, decided that they would focus on creating birthday messages for the social media, These were all created, designed by the group. So it was all peer-led, this project. And it was showing activities and messages from there. This one says, thank you so much, Neighbourhood Networks. You supported me, inspired me, and just have made life so much more fun. I mean, it's just basic, honest message from the members, what Neighbourhood Networks is doing. Obviously, that was from Josh and Mary Hill, and he's just wishing a happy birthday. So there was 11 in that project, so there was 11 messages spread out through the thing. Go on to the next one, please. Picturing our past as a part of a bigger project, and hopefully very soon meet face to face with the group as well and take it to Stirling Castle and stuff. Picturing our past as a project to be funded by Heritage Lottery, to look at individuals' personal stories, their families, history, their local community history, tying that in with local culture and heritage, visiting museums. Obviously, we couldn't do that with the online one, but I will be doing that, and also visiting Stirling Castle. We had 2 members, separate workshops facilitated from Historic Scotland. One was Jackie Sangster, who gave us a historical photo tour through central Scotland from using their Scran photo bank. And we also had Justin Wood, who gave us a tour of Stirling Castle through the keyhole. We also had a fella, Duncan Thompson, from the Strathleigh and Artisans, the Robert Bruce Centre in Renton, the railway station, and he came on and he gave us a wee talk on that as well. So it was quite different from the other projects. But yeah, so this was one of 11 projects I'll be running under the Picturing Your Past over the next 3 years, well, 2.5 years now. But it's been a real pleasure working with Neighbourhood Networks, and you can tell, with other organisations, it was a struggle to get them connected up. Actually, at one point, with an organisation, I was connecting up through FaceTime, through WhatsApp, through Zoom. But with Neighbourhood Networks, they seem to have, obviously, I never knew that you had already started the process of digitalisation or online stuff. But they seem to mostly have it together. We had a few technical hitches, but we got through them because the staff were capable of working through it. So it was it was just a complete pleasure running the projects for you. And this is my contact details if anyone wishes to get in contact to learn. I'm sorry this is rushed, but only 5 minutes, so to learn any more information, and particularly that we created, I'm sorry I forgot to mention this, normally when we do face-to-face projects, we have an exhibition of the participants' work, all the photographs of the participants. Obviously we couldn't do that, so we had online, created online through Canva, created online slideshows, and if you wish to see, there's a couple of them actually on the website, which is inclusiveimages.org, which is there. And you go to the online projects, you'll see the videos. Anyway, I don't know if I've got a minute or two for questions or that. If anybody's got any questions.
Yeah, if you have.
I feel as if I just went on speed dial.
No, you're all right. I'll just give you Neil from one of our networks in North Lanarkshire said he enjoyed the Inclusive Images project and all the photographs are fantastic. Lots of comments how lovely the photos are. Well done to everybody.
Yep, definitely. Well, it was all their work. It was all the members' work. It was just fantastic. I just sort of guided them, and we just had a laugh at each week, although there was a sort of framework, a skeleton of the project. It was basically, up to their interpretation, which it always is, So it's. So yeah, it was a pleasure. But if you're listening, Neil, hope you're keeping well, my friend.
Yeah. And Michelle, fantastic project. Many members found a new skill thanks to Charlie. So some very nice words, Charlie. Thank you so much for your time today. Okay, thank you. So next up we have Lottie Barker. She is from Clifftop Projects, and Lottie facilitated our dance project during the pandemic, and I know the guys had a great time getting involved in this, but I'm going to let Lottie tell you all about it. But first of all, we have a little video to show you of our members getting involved in Lottie's dance classes, and then Lottie's going to go on and have a chat with everybody. Thank you.
So what are some things that you enjoy about dancing together?
It's good to see everybody's faces because I was shielding, so I was in by myself all the time. So that's been good, but it's also been good to be able to just do some gentle movements. And
that's great. Thank you. Kerry, what do you enjoy about dancing, coming to dancing?
I like everybody.
So you like being around everybody and moving together?
I like Jordan as well.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Kerry.
And Jordan, what have you enjoyed about coming to dancing?
I love my dancing. It makes me having fun and relaxing.
Hi everyone, I'm Lottie from Clifftop Projects. We're an arts organisation based out in Western Bartonshire, and hopefully that little video gave you a bit of a taste of some of the stuff we've been up to in our dance classes. Lots of the movement that we create comes from participants' imaginations, so it's rare that I will teach something and ask people to copy. It's more that I come with an idea or even the seed of an idea, and then we create movement together. And yeah, it's been amazing working with Neighbourhood Networks over the last 2 years now, which has gone very quickly. When I was first invited to teach online, I was very hesitant. Part of what I love as a dance teacher is being around people. And dance is all about us using our bodies and being in a space together. So I really thought it wasn't going to work, if I'm honest with you. But now I absolutely love it. So I thought about some of the benefits that I found from teaching digitally. So in terms of accessibility, it felt like it was actually adding more accessibility for a lot of people once they'd sort of had the help from Neighbourhood Networks to get online digitally in the first place. Because as already has been mentioned, I was able to teach people from across Scotland. So everyone was able to attend these dance classes rather than just people in one particular place that I went to. It also meant that people who were reliant on other people to get them places or to sort out travel had a sense of independence because they were able to log on themselves. They weren't having to get a bus. They weren't having to ask someone for a lift. They weren't having to order a taxi. And then on top of that, there was the fact that people could keep their cameras off. Dance can sometimes be seen as a bit of a a scary thing to get involved with. So often people would keep their cameras off for a few sessions, and then by like session 3 or 4, they'd feel comfortable enough to have their camera on and take part. It also meant if people weren't feeling up to moving, they could just sit and watch, and it wasn't maybe as obvious as if we were in a dance studio all together, so people could feel more comfortable. Also with the volume control, it meant people could turn down the volume if there was some sort of overstimulation, or even mute or take themselves away for a few moments. So yeah, I actually found accessibility wise, it added that layer of accessibility. And then artistically for me, it was really interesting to work in this way, and it's a way I'd never worked before. So it was really interesting to think about, okay, how can we spotlight people or use all the tools that are available within Zoom? How can we hide participants and then bring them back? How can we use the screen to come on and off? So yeah, artistically, it was just really interesting for me as well. We did lots of trial and error where we would try to like pass things between the screens or pass a dance move down a column. So yeah, that was, as a choreographer and an artist, a really exciting way to work. And it's something that I'm definitely going to continue longer term, looking at screen dance and how I can create dance for film. And excitingly, we're sort of moving into a hybrid model, working with Neighbourhood networks, in that we'll be able to do rehearsals for a showcase online so that people can join from all over Scotland. And we will be doing a performance at the birthday celebrations next month. That's come around quickly. Month after next, we're fine. So it's really exciting that we can get people involved from all over to rehearse digitally and then bring it together. And I think hopefully that will be a way of working into the future, this hybrid digital and in-person work. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lottie. I'll just a couple of comments. The dance class looks fantastic, and all of the network members and community living workers look like they're enjoying the dance. Brilliant video, very impressive with the dancing. Love the hybrid development. And William is saying, I was on the dance class and you were my partner on Zoom because there was no one else. So thank you, Lottie. The energy came through in the video. So we're now going to go over to John Dock. John's a member of our network in Clydebank, and again is someone who's embraced the changes, and as a result is benefiting hugely from the introduction of the digital programme. So over to John Dock.
John, could you introduce yourself, please?
John Dock, I come from Clickhall, Paisley, Bank. I joined Neighbourhood Network 21st.
That was in May, wasn't it?
May.
2021. So what we're looking for today, John, is could you tell me what digital skills you had before you joined the network?
No digital skills to use WhatsApp or Zoom.
Okay, so what equipment did you get to help you stay connected?
I got a new phone for Neighbourhood Network. My Apple tablet got my other class.
And that was for your literacy class?
Literacy class.
And that's where we met, John, wasn't it? The literacy class came on board. Good stuff. So the equipment you got, how did it actually help you stay connected during COVID? That must have been a really tough time. You must have felt quite isolated.
Yeah, because I had COVID February.
You had COVID as well, John, didn't you?
February, Fairmont,
Yeah.
the house.
Oh, wow. It's been hard.
So my dad, because I was in family.
Tough time,
Had
John.
COVID as well.
Yeah.
Tough time.
So you got the digital equipment. How did you, what connectivities did you start doing to keep connected?
Go on Zoom, go and joined Neighbourhood Network. Got to Zoom.
Yeah. You joined a couple of the activities, the men's group, wasn't it?
Men's group, photography.
That's right.
Cake decoration.
Oh, the cake decorating, that was a good event, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes you join in the karaoke.
Karaoke sometimes.
So who helped you develop your skills to get connected into these activities? Was there somebody that came along and showed you how to work?
Callum was showing me how to work on WhatsApp.
Callum's a
The
community
picture,
worker for
send
department.
me a picture.
Yeah.
Send up to your WhatsApp.
So he showed you how to connect the pictures and send them on.
Yes.
That'd be really helpful then, Johnny.
Yes.
So we're getting that support. How did that make you feel when you were able to stay connected, not only with your own network, but the wider network?
I made new friends.
You got to meet new friends.
Made new friends to go out different places because I usually stay in the house all the time.
You've got some care responsibilities there, John, haven't you?
Yes.
So it's really important to you to stay connected with others, just for your own well-being.
People.
Yeah.
Because my sister said you got better social life than me.
Well, that's good to hear. So, are you going to continue to use, now that we're beginning to come out of this pandemic and we're getting to meet up, do you feel you'll continue to use the digital devices that you have to stay connected? Are you enjoying that part of it?
There's WhatsApp, Zoom.
Yeah. Has that enabled you then to work with other support agencies that you have? That you work with your literacy group, connected with them?
Yes.
And you've also have Enable?
Starts back in the literature class.
So you're back face to face with literacy. But you feel confident to use the Zoom to stay connected with other providers?
Yes.
Well, thanks very much, John. That sounds like a real journey you've been on. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Audrey and John, for another inspirational story. It just shows you just the power of digital and the difference it can make to somebody's lives. I do apologise for the sound quality of that video, but hopefully you managed to follow okay with the subtitles. So thank you to all our speakers. Thank you so much for your contributions. Okay, so bumps in the road. So initially we shared all of the information on our digital activities on a shared Outlook calendar. However, it became apparent that some staff had difficulties moving the information from the calendar into their WhatsApp groups. So to help with this, we developed specific digital activity WhatsApp groups so that you could post the information directly there as well, so that the community living workers were able to forward this on to their members directly to their phones. And this meant that it was easier to access.
So as part of the shift from a known system to a new system, it was recognised that we were probably lacking some specific technical skills. So we took an opportunity that presented itself to invest in some expertise. That's when Stephen came on board. Stephen's been name checked a few times throughout. Stephen's been an absolute godsend, I need to say. I'm not sure if he's on the session, but if he is, thank you, Stephen. We also had to invest in some equipment that was fit for purpose. We've been using older laptops which were fit for the previous purpose, but not for the purposes that we would require going forward. We recognised that in order to assist staff to engage in digital activities, we needed to do all we could to facilitate this. So we now focus more time on IT skills as part of our staff induction. Previously, it was a bit of an add-on, whereas now it's seen as a very integral part of the community living worker role. We've developed a set of guides which we continue to develop and review, and we now issue equipment with all of the necessary apps and software pre-installed, so kind of path of least resistance. So that's some of our learning.
Okay, so digital fatigue. So as time went on, we had some people who were starting to experience a bit of digital fatigue. We managed this by making sure that when opportunities arose, we supplemented digital activities with real life activities. We continually reviewed digital activities to try as much as possible to ensure that we continue to offer a variety and meet the needs of as many people as possible. We varied the times of activities to allow people to engage in other real world activities around the digital activities that we were offering.
Another thing that we found was that it was often the simple activities that people responded best to. People enjoy just coming together. I think two of the most successful activities that are our men's group and our women's group, which generally have very little structure and are nothing more than an opportunity for people to connect.
So although all of this was a big learning curve for us, the need to go digital over the last 2 years has really resulted in us achieving some of our planned digital support work in a much shorter time frame. Initially, just supporting our members to have the devices and skills to keep connected was huge. Then seeing those skills develop over the months so that many of our activities became local staff and member-led.
So another success is our ability for us to run life skills courses and sessions online now. Means that we can reach a much wider numbers with our activities. What started off with a kind of popular cooking class made us realise that this way of learning could also be used for money management and many other life skills. Currently, we're running a housing support clinic. The big plus, especially for highlighting our success with funders, is the development of our OFMS during this time, allowing us to easily track every interaction with our members and look at how their skills improve over time. So that's been another key success. That's the end of our kind of webinar as such. It's over to you guys now. Has anyone posted any questions in the chat, or does anyone have any questions? Okay, so all that remains then is for us to say some thank yous. Thank you to Charlie and Lottie, to all of our wonderful staff and network members for the work that they've done over the last couple of years, for their patience and their courage in embracing the changes that we've made. You're all fantastically brave, and hopefully your lives will have been enriched. We hope that you will continue to be brave and continue to develop your digital skills. The journey continues. Thank you, folks. Thanks. Okay. I think that's pretty much the end of the session. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you at some future workshops.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well done, folks.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, Lottie.
Bye.
Bye.